Hello and welcome to an unboxing. Today we have Final Fantasy IV Advance for the Game Boy Advance. This release of the game is, in fact, a Game Boy Advance exclusive. There were other versions released that were based on this version. However, this version has the unique distinction of retaining the original sprites from the Super Nintendo original release of the game. As well as, retaining those sprites and also adding the new features introduced in this version. So we are going to unbox this today. Let's get a close-up. The gorgeous Yoshitaka Amano art. An epic journey of redemption retold. Previously released as Final Fantasy II for the Super NES, enhanced with all new features. Start with the game cartridge itself. Here it is. I remember back in the day when I was much younger, in the early 2000s, I was a fan of this series, and I remember someone very influential to me at the time introduced me to the Super NES, Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games that were released in North America. And I remember they told me how much they loved 4 and 6. And they would talk fondly of their memories of playing it as a child around the time of their release in the early 90s and in the mid 90s, respectively. And yeah, so I have a soft spot for this game in particular and Final Fantasy VI as a result. used to own this game on Super Nintendo. I no longer have it. I let a friend borrow it back when I was in high school, and never got it back from him. But I do have it on several other platforms now. I have it on PlayStation. Now I have it on Game Boy Advance. And I have the Pixel Remaster on PlayStation 4, as well as Nintendo Switch. And I do plan on getting it on the remake, 3D remake on the Nintendo DS. And one day I would like to pick it up on Super Nintendo again. There's something really special about playing Final Fantasy games on original hardware. You know, this is a series that is largely known for being developed for to take advantage of a very specific piece of hardware, and really leverage the unique architecture of that hardware to make to best utilize its capabilities and make a really cutting edge game. So and you feel it playing Final Fantasy games on their original hardware. Like, you still feel it to this day. Like, if you play Final Fantasy 12 on PlayStation 2, you're kind of amazed at what they were able to accomplish on that console. Same thing with Final Fantasy 7 on PlayStation, or Final Fantasy 9 on PlayStation, and with Final Fantasy 6 on Super Nintendo. You're really amazed at what they were able to do back in those days. And it still holds up to this day with the modern releases as well. You know, playing Final Fantasy 15 on PlayStation 4, or Final Fantasy 16 on PlayStation 5. Although I will say, in the case of Final Fantasy 15 in particular, I do prefer playing that one on PlayStation 5 because of the inherent, PS4 Pro update benefits to frame rate. Alright, there's the last of that. I'm not going to go over this one as much. This one is a standard. It comes with all Game Boy Advance releases. And it's just like a little healthy and safe precaution. This one I do find a little bit interesting. The advertisement for Tales of Fantasia, which at the time was its first ever release outside of Japan, which is pretty cool. On the opposite side, we have Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls, which in Japan was released as Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Advance, just like Final Fantasy 4 Advance. Great release. Alright. And then, there's this final piece for registration code. Go with that. Nintendo Power Magazine and the Final Fantasy IV Advanced Strategy Guide. Excellent. Last but not least, we have ourselves a little advertisement for the Game Boy player for Nintendo GameCube. A really neat add-on. Which has had somewhat of a second life in the modern age. Alright, so that's what you get when you purchase Final Fantasy IV Advance Complete in Box on the Game Boy Advance. So for all of you out there who are interested, and for those of you who are searching for your own copy, now you know exactly what to look for. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. May your day be wonderful, wherever today finds you. Take care.